Welcome back to the Salon Owner's Holistic Blueprint podcast. And this episode today, we are going to be diving into ingredients. Welcome to the Salon Owner's Holistic Blueprint, your podcast for unlocking the secrets to a thriving salon business through holistic practices. I'm Jacqueline Rodriguez, your host. And join me each week as we explore wellness, sustainability, and business success. Everything from attracting conscious clients to adopting eco-friendly practices. We're going to cover it all to elevate your salon business. Welcome back, Kate and Lindsay. I'm so excited to have you again on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So fun.
Of course. So this is really a big wheelhouse for you guys on the ingredients, because this is what you deal with day in and day out. And as a clean beauty coach, it's important for me to have like the insight of what's in the ingredients. What are some things that we need to look for, and what are companies doing that we can start actually, making better choices. So this is a big one, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Go. You want to kick it off?
I mean, I can just kick it off generally in saying that, as I got involved in the personal care industry, I came in as a novice. I mean, I know Kate has more of a background than I did. And I was stunned when I started seeing all the chemicals that are in most mainstream products. I mean, the plastics, the endocrine disruptors, the sulfates, the harsh things that we're putting on our hairs and on our body. So it was a huge learning curve for me, coming in as, like a relatively aware, educated person, and just shocked to find out what I'd been using for so long.
And I was also shocked at, when I tried to remove plastics, my big crusade is plastic. I was shocked to find that when you remove plastic, people automatically assumed you wanted products that didn't work. They made them so eco-friendly to the point where I would never buy this or rebuy it. So when I got into this, when I started buying shampoo and conditioner bars, so I've been trying to reduce my plastic since 2014. And for those of you that this is the first episode, I own Dip Sustainable Hair Care and Lindsay owns Plain Products. And so we're both on different sides of tackling the plastic problem in hair care. And so for me, I had a graveyard of shampoo and conditioner bars that just didn't perform the way I wanted them to, because I'm one of those people that loves going to the salon and sitting in the chair. It's like it's my little luxury that I've just kept my whole, I think since I turned maybe 18 and had my first real paycheck, I that's always been my little treat. No bags, no shoes. It's always been hair. And so when I realized that there was this problem with assuming that the person that wants to reduce their plastic doesn't want nice hair. It actually drove me really, really, really nuts. And so that's become my secondary crusade is removing the plastic and then also making something that makes someone not return back to the plastic products.
Yes. That is a huge, huge piece, especially for hairdressers and salon owners, because up until recently, I've been on this whole journey probably 13 years now. And up until recently, that was the case. It was you either chose clean and sustainable products that did not do what you needed them to, or you chose the traditional, oh, well, I guess we'll be okay products, and so many people don't even realize what's in the products, much like both of you. I was the same way. I had no idea. And then when I saw how deep it really went, it was very disturbing to realize that all of these products are in each and every one of our products at home that we use so often. And then you have no choice to go. So I want to know, breaking into that, how did you start to break down the ingredients and then choose ones that could give us the results and still work like we expect.
Okay.
I mean, for us, it was a, just a part of finding the right partner manufacturer. We also, like Kate, I was trying to reduce plastic only since 2015, though. She beat me by a year, but our bottles are reusable. So I came at it from that way, trying to figure out the packaging piece, and then was getting different manufacturers to make stuff, and I was like, and then I was running it by people, and like, how does this look? And they're like, why are you going to create this great environmental package and then stick all these chemicals in it that are going to be on people and wash down the drain and cause problems downstream and health, planet, all the things. So we just had to keep looking, and we finally ended up with an aloe-based product that provides all the nutrients and all the things. And then it turns out, it's like everything else. You just got to work a little bit harder, but there are solutions there. I mean, you can't just mix water and chemicals and call it good. You have to go find these extra little things, but there are genius people out there that know about them. We just have to amplify.
Yeah. And on my side, I'm a big believer in finding someone so much smarter than yourself to help you. And so I found my chemist, and he had spent 40 years of developing luxury hair care. So he had done formulations for Redken, for Wella, for L'Oreal, and he was, a lecturer at the SCC. So he has seen hair care for decades, what's trending, what works, what's tried and true, what doesn't work, what causes like major news stories for problems and what does. So he also, another bonus for why I chose him was I was trying to homogenize the hair market for bars, because I saw the problem that a family with mixed hair types couldn't store so many bars in their shower. It's ridiculous to think that one family can have with 3 different hair types is going to buy 6 bars shampoo and conditioner for their own hair type, because you just can't store it. It's just impractical. So I chose this chemist. The secondary reason was because he has his grandchildren. He's very white and Southern, and his grandchildren were half Black, and he had all sorts of hair textures, and that he had to deal with at home. They all live in his house. So that was like a problem I wanted to solve, was trying to not only make something more sustainable, but also making it accessible across all hair types, which is something that as soon as someone hears all hair types, they don't want it. So I then have like this other education piece to try and make people believe that it's going to work for them, but it will also work for their type 4 best friend. It's crazy.
It's so fascinating. We have found that too. We ended up going with a more general formula.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of say to people, okay, if your hair is like mine, a little finer, a little greasier, leave the shampoo in longer, skip the conditioner in and out. If it's coarser, curlier, skip the shampoo, or shampoo in and out, leave the conditioner longer. Like, you can work with products to make them work. But again, we've been so convinced that we need to buy 6 bottles of everything for everybody in our family in the different days of the week that, reversing that is crazy to convince people that they don't need to spend as much money.
So the way I say it to people is that your relationship to your hair is special, but your hair is not. The chemistry of your hair is not special. It's not. And everyone wants to tell me like about their hair and all the intricacies of their relationship to their hair. And I'm like, hair is chemically kind of similar across the board, but your relation to it is the thing that you're talking about, and when you say it that way, then they understand. I'm sure as a stylist that people are determined to tell you how their hair is different from everyone else's.
Yep. Yeah.
And
and the biggest thing is this, and I think we talked about it in a past episode, is how we are marketed to, right?
Yeah.
So it is this whole education piece, not only on that, there can be a product across the board that you don't have to buy 20 different products for one family, and that clean and sustainable products work just as well, if not better, than some of the ones that we are so traditionally marketed to and that we just think. So it's like breaking down this whole belief system, and it goes so far back because we've been marketed to for so long. So I think that this is really like a huge piece where we get to educate and we get to start breaking some of those norms and teaching that it doesn't have to be that way and that there is a different way, right? I don't want to put better or worse, but different that does help reduce the toxins and the harm that we as an industry are making in the industry. I mean, in the world.
I would say that every time someone in the sustainable space, and I think Lindsay, you probably agree with this, every time someone puts out a product that doesn't work, it hurts the rest of us.
I mean, we all are still coming back from the 90s, early 2000s, and the products that were out there. I mean, they were, you know, I mean, it was like, well, I do want to it, but like, oh, like, I also don't want to go outside. And the other thing that kills me is you know, somebody's like, oh, you just need to put a duck on the bottle and sell it as kid safe. And I was like, you know, you see these products that are like kid baby safe. I'm like, why is it okay to use this on babies, but like our stuff isn't safe? Like, that's just a crazy dichotomy to me of like, it should be safe for everybody.
Across
you have to do something different that is safe for kids. I mean, yeah, they are younger and, you know, that we shouldn't mess them up as quick as, but it should be putting this stuff on their body. Like, I don't get that either.
Totally. I think the only difference is tier safe, right? For babies under 2. That's the one. I mean,
but even I think part of it is like not having those sulfates that are super hard for allergens.
Totally.
That makes it, but like, again, nobody really needs to be putting that in their hair, on their body, you know.
Yeah. And as far as choosing ingredients, I tend to lean more on the science side. And my background, I studied economics, but I have a minor in science, and I lean towards some of the cooler technologies and things that I know are tried and true when it comes to hair care, over going overly sustainable in the formulations. And I think that sets us apart from other bars, because I think that there's this idea that everyone is marketing to the same customer, right? In sustainability. And I'm not marketing to the same customer as the other bars. I'm trying to make, like, I don't want to steal anyone from another bar brand. I definitely want to take someone who's used to buying Oribe every month. That's the person, because that's the biggest difference I can make in plastic, right? And that I always say that's my first crusade. It's not the ingredients as much as it is like get these people that are slaves to brands that they're consume and meant to be consumed really fast and in this like beautiful packaging that can't be recycled. Like, I mean, that's really what we're trying to do.
And that's a big crusade, because I mean, even with myself, like, we see people in every single day, but they are with a very deep rooted belief of what's going to work and what's not. And those beautiful packaging and marketing, again, with billions of dollars to have for marketing, they believe one way or the other. So being able to have something that is going to perform and save the planet is awesome. And then have the ingredients as well. So when you're talking ingredients, and either one of you want to answer, what should we actually look for? Really simple terms for anyone listening that they can be like, okay, this is what I should avoid because this is what's in all the products that we don't need. And what can we actually, like, what are you replacing it with?
Okay.
Like very specific ingredients. Like it's hard for me to answer because I don't demonize ingredients the way they're kind of demonized in the industry. But you know, I think what is more appropriate is to look at like the standards for which, like we used Credo's clean standards because they're the highest and most strict for what is clean. And so we built our formulas to respect those guidelines. I think as far as, you know, our bars are vegan, which isn't like a special thing anymore. Like everyone's doing vegan. We're cruelty free, we're silicone free, phthalate free, like all those things that they're not special to dip anymore. So it's
generally say phthalates, PEGs.
Yeah, PEGs, sure.
Sulfates, you know, I mean, I think there are, you know, some very chemicals that everybody sort of agrees there are better. I mean, again, I hate that word better, but there are less, you know, potentially chemically altering to your body options than a lot of those things. And I think a lot of those were just making sure it lasted extra long, making sure you felt clean.
Oh, that's a big one.
Sure that it was smooth, you know, that we just don't have to have, you know, something doesn't need to be shelf stable for 10 years. But that's where we were getting, you know, I mean, that's kind of where things were headed. And, you know, 90s, 2000s is like, everybody's like, let's, you know, use all these amazing chemicals and things that we've designed to make stuff last forever. And that seemed like a great idea in the 80s. You know, like, it was fun and we were doing all this and we had no idea what we were signing up for at the time.
It's so funny. Is it that you say that? I'm at my in-laws right now, and Jonathan and I have been together since 2009, and the same giant bottle of blue herbal essence like has been in the guest shower since then. And every time I go in there, I laugh. It's so
I mean, and it probably, to its credit, has not changed a bit.
It works.
5 years. I mean, it's probably still foaming.
Oh, I'm sure. That's
crazy.
Definitely some of the products that will be around. Like if we ever hit the, you know, zombie apocalypse,
totally,
those will still be here.
Yeah, you just need to go to guest showers anywhere in the United States, and you'll find all the stuff that's there forever.
Like a thing.
Yeah.
And I like
at
my mom's house not too long ago.
We just went to 2 different Airbnbs, and the first one it wasn't labeled, so I liked that it was a refill. So it had the option of refill, and but it smelled like Axe, you know, and I'm just oh my gosh. And then the other one had all the bottles like herbal essence, Dove, this and that. Of course, you know, I walk in and I'm like, oh gosh, like I come prepared, so I have all my stuff. I don't have to use anybody's, but those are the option. That's what people use too, you know? So looking at how do we start, you know, shifting things over and using products. And I mean, bars, perfect for traveling, especially because we're going into the holiday season. So easy to take with you. Your aluminum bottles, I have the little travel ones. Actually, I don't have them here. They're in my bag. They're so cute, but there's so many different options now. I think really starting to look at that and then breaking down what is it that's the most important to you when you're choosing, right? And I talk about this all the time, especially for my salon owners out there. When you're choosing what to bring into your salon, do the research. And I love what both of you said about having somebody smarter that knows more about the ingredients, because I'm not a scientist. Like that is not my gig. I don't claim to know all the details of everything. I just know some things to look for and to avoid, and you know, looking for Credo standards, looking for B Corp, the B Corp labels. So there's a lot of different labels and things that really do uphold the standards, so you know what you're looking for when you're switching things over. I think that that's a really important thing, is like it can be so much easier. You don't have to know every single detail. You just start looking for the reputable, like Credo and B Corp. Those are the 2 that keep coming to my mind, but those are big ones.
Yeah, Working Group has a great database that you can run products through. There are definitely resources out there.
Mhm.
But certainly, I mean, even just, looking at the label, if it's a lot of oxides and really long, it's pretty easy to do a quick look and be like, oh, maybe this is not something that I want. And then there are some, I mean, Kate and I have been chatting about this. Sometimes you need a little bit of chemical to get the job done.
Yeah. I'm not a chemophobe. So if it makes my hair look really beautiful, like I want it. And if it makes it smell really good, I want it with certain contingencies. Like it's there's different attitudes in what they want, what people want in hair care. And there's how many, over 300 million people in the country. So like it's easy to choose your lane. And for me, like, honestly, I did so much A/B testing between dip and other luxury hair care where I did half head showers of like, half dip, half Orbe, half dip, half Olaplex, like just, and I would even go do the dry down, air dry and blow dry on both sides until you couldn't tell the difference between each side of my head. Like that was how I chose my ingredients and the ratios of everything. And then I took what I thought was the perfect bar, and then I gave it to all these people with different hair types. And then I had them tell me what was wrong with it. And that was tough. And so I had to I kept iterating and iterating. And so I wanted it to be the last bar anyone would ever buy. Or search for. I not the last one they would buy. I wanted to continue, but I wanted it to be the last one. Like they're like, finally, I found the bar that I'm gonna stick with. And so that when it comes to ingredients, and our ingredients are all over the site. I put them in the header, in the footer, in the like dip deeper. Like every tab has a link to the ingredients, so they're easy to find. And I'm very open with what each one is and why they were chosen.
Somebody I just saw on the gram, somebody saying like, oh, they're someone's concerned about like the heavy metals and in the grass fed, and it is true. Like, unless you are each time you shower concocting a shampoo out of all natural ingredients that will not last for more than 10 minutes once you're done, like there's going to be something in it. There's got to be a little bit of preservatives. There's got to be a little bit of things to keep it stable. I mean, you can try and choose better, safer, but there's always going to be something. And again, if you want to be effective, there's
Yeah,
in everything. I mean,
I think
there's
so.
pros and cons. And to your point, there's a lot of different lanes, and people with higher and lower risk tolerances can get in there. But yeah, I mean, there is no perfect, effective, amazing, magical thing that doesn't have something in it that's not going to upset somebody.
Well, you can never be sustainable enough. That's what I always remember. You can never be sustainable enough for the trolls, especially. So you just
right.
you own your choices. And if someone asks me why, I'm like, this is why. You're looking at one dimension of a business that I am immersed in 365 days of the year, probably in my dreams, like as well as every week, minute of every day. I've answered every question. I know my business inside and out. And when someone comes at me and is like, you did this instead of this, I'm like, yeah, there's like 3,000 decisions that came before that particular one. And I can tell you exactly why. Sit down. How much time do you have? And so there's this other side of like ingredients where consumers, they don't know, like, it's not that they don't know, it's that they will get like a nugget of information or cherry picked data or whatever, and then they go on this like crusade over a certain ingredient or a certain, I don't know, really like anything. And so
Keratin and our products, and it's a seaweed.
yep.
And there's concern about Keratin and some like milk alternative. And so I had people, oh my God, you've got Keratin in your product. And I was like, as far as I know, like Keratin is an issue if you ingest it.
Yeah.
But on your skin, on your hair, the way the molecules are, like it doesn't get absorbed. So like don't drink the shampoo. But
let's hope nobody's doing that to begin with.
This is an ingredient that, yes, causes some problems. And it's the same thing, like there's an ingredient on the environmental, database that's like, ooh, that's a problem. If you're using it like on your lips or on cracked skin,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
So this is where you get into these nuances that Kate's talking about of like, I heard that's bad. And it was like, well, sometimes yes. And certain,
Mhm.
if you use it this way, or if you do this. And so sometimes it's like, you do need some information, but then sometimes a little bit of information can also be a dangerous thing without context or more information. And so, every salon owner should feel comfortable talking to the brand about like, why are you using this? How come you chose it? What's the trade-off here? And we should all be able to answer those questions. Or in my case, I go back to the manufacturer and ask them to answer those questions and come back. But they should be making those choices about what they're comfortable. We should have to justify them. And then they can say, all right, this has keratin in it, but now I know, not cancer causing on the skin or from the hair.
Mm.
Such a huge point, though, because when we are making these decisions, the transparency that you both have, that is what I teach my students in the academy to go through. And my vision or my priorities and values might be different than another salon owner. And we can't all go off the exact same thing. And when you're looking for something, it should be transparent. If there are things on the website that say clean or sustainable, but then there's nothing to back it up.
Mhm.
And when you hop on the phone, because let me tell you how many phone calls I made to brands asking, what is the ingredients? I want the full ingredient list. I don't want your highlighted ones. I want the full ingredient list. And you get the runaround. That's when hop out. Do not go with that brand. And you do have to choose with what is the most important for your values, where you're at right now. And I love that you both brought that point up, and such a great way to actually start looking at the brands that you are choosing as a salon owner or anybody, right? Any single thing. Look at the website. Look to see how transparent they are. If all else fails, call them. If they give you the runaround, block the site. Don't buy.
Are there any ingredients that you miss? I have one that I miss.
Actually, no. I haven't thought about it that way.
I miss silicones. I love them. I love what they do to hair. I think they're so cool. I know they don't biodegrade, they only degrade, so we don't have them. But that is one of those things that like they make the hair so shiny, and I know they build up and do all these things, but like the immediate result of having silicones in your hair is so beautiful. And it was a tough breakup. That one was a tough one. It's got to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can say, like, before I knew what keratin, like the keratin treatment did,
Mhm.
I used to get it way back when, before I knew what it did. And I did like the way my hair looked, because I have just my natural texture. This layer, just this top layer, always has like a beautiful layer of frizz. And it's not even frizz, it's just the texture. So the keratin did help. And it is definitely not worth the trade-off for what keratin products do. I mean, the keratin treatment. So I never thought about it that way, but yeah. How about you, Lindsay?
I did have a keratin spray, and I don't maybe I don't even want to know what I was doing to myself.
No, the treatment and the spray.
No, the treatment, yeah. They're totally different. Yeah.
Okay, see, here you go, information.
Yeah, having a protein in a spray is good. So you're good.
All right.
Yes.
I mean, it is long since passed, but
yeah, no, that I should be very clear. It is definitely the keratin treatment, not the keratin proteins that are in different products. Those are fine. Those, that has nothing to do, but the treatment itself. So it's not an ingredient specific, but it was a treatment that I did enjoy until you can't breathe. Like, and I realized even when I first started, I mean, you just could not breathe when you're doing it. So I was like, this can't be okay.
I certainly remember the burning sensation on my scalp from perms in middle school that we all
Oh,
just like, oh, I guess
yeah.
we'll just tough it out. Like, I guess it's just is what it is to be beautiful. And I'm glad that we have progressed beyond that point of willing to accept pain and singeing.
Yeah, I think those are some pretty big ones. And to be mindful of time, any last things that you would like to say on ingredients specifically or what we've been talking about today?
I think it's very cool that we even have an episode on ingredients in the first place, because it's the questions I get asked the most is what are they and what do they do? So, I appreciate that stylists are starting to pay more attention to what they're putting on their shelves. And that's like a big, big step forward in the industry. And I think it's one that's been a long time coming. And it's nice to see that the sustainability movement is bleeding onto salon shelves, because I think that there's so much money in the marketing of the stuff that's already out there, right? It's like it's a money machine, the upsold hair care products that are in salons. And with that comes a lot of marketing and a lot of education being given to drive people to upsell these other products. And I think paying attention to the ingredients and what you're upselling, especially as so many stylists are, mothers, aunts, uncles, fathers, like they want to leave the world a better place for, themselves, like the children around them, their clients, like everyone. So this is one of the coolest things that's happening right now. And yeah, we appreciate you guys bringing attention to that.
Thank you. I agree.
I would just agree with that. I mean, the fact that we're talking about it's great. And I think the weird, like, pull back the curtain. Like, brands should be expected to answer questions. We shouldn't be able to get away with this word fragrance that the big brands, that's again a whole other topic. Oh, it's a secret. We can't tell you. You don't, we don't want anybody to copy it. So we're just going to use this word and not tell you what's in here. Like, that's a bunch of, anyway. So yes, I just love that. I think brands are being held more accountable and should be held accountable for the choices that we make, and not right or wrong, but just saying, here's the trade-off we chose to make. This is why we did it. Great. If you're comfortable with that, buy this. If not, buy that. But we should have to explain why we chose.
I fully agree. And I'm super appreciative that we are here having the conversation, pulling back the curtains, and that we are starting to step up as leaders in the industry, because that's what I see. Every hairstylist, every salon owner, we are leaders. So many people look up to us. They ask us questions. They trust what we tell them. And with more education, with diving in deeper to these missions, that is going to provide the education that is going to literally transform the industry. So I'm just super excited to even be a part of that and to be on this journey. And I definitely thank both of you for being open, for showing us and talking to us, frankly, about what's going on, because that's what we need. We don't need any more of this Instagram or YouTube perfect. We need conversations so that we can make better decisions and have just a new idea, new beliefs form on what options we actually have in the industry. So thank you so much for being on the podcast and continuing to do the amazing work that you are, and for just being open about it all.
Oh, well, thanks for having us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Salon Owner's Holistic Blueprint. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow and subscribe. Until next time, stay inspired, stay passionate, and keep thriving in the world of holistic beauty.